Okay, so yesterday we either would add the equations together or we would subtract. So we added if there were opposites and we subtracted if they were the same. But today we're going to use multiplication. So we're going to be multiplying. So we're going to use multiplication, and when we're multiplying, we're going to use the distributive property. Okay, so today we are always going to add the equations. So I'm just going to box that in. Today we're always going to add the equations. Now, yesterday we talked about that you are going to add when there's a certain type. Do you guys remember what that word was? Opposites. Okay, so they have to be opposites. Do you guys remember what opposites are? Yeah, -1 and 1. -2 and 2. Okay, and the reason why they have to be opposites is because when you add them together, what number do they make? Yes, good. They add to 0. That's why they have to be opposites, because in order for them to cancel out, we want them to add to 0. Okay, so today we're going to be adding the opposites together in order to eliminate the variable. Okay, so we are doing elimination today. So here's the thing. You can choose whether you want to eliminate the x's or the y's. That part is up to you. You just have to decide, do you want the x's to be opposites or the y's? Okay, so here I have what's in front of the x. What number? A 1, great. And then in front of the y I have a 2. And then here I have a -3. Here I have a 1. I just need one of these to be opposites, okay? So I'm going to pick for the first one. I'm going to say we're going to eliminate the x's. So if I want these to be opposites, this is -3. What would this have to be? +3. Good. Okay, so step 1, we're going to multiply to get opposites. Do you guys want to abbreviate that? Multiply to get opposites? I just want you to have something so that if you look back at this, you know what to do first. Because the first step is going to change just depending on what you have. So multiply to get opposites. Okay, so if I want this to be 3, I can multiply 1 by 3. So this is how we're going to write it so that we don't have to write everything out over and over again, because that can be kind of a lot, right? Okay, so we're going to multiply everything by 3, and then we're just going to draw an arrow. Okay, so then when you distribute, first we're going to do 3 times 1x, which is 3x. Can you guys do the 3 times 2y? So what's 3 times 2? 6, yeah? So this is just going to be plus 6y. Do you guys know 3 times 11? 33, nice. Okay, and then we don't have to change the second one at all. So the second equation, we're just going to rewrite the exact same. So you only have to change the one where you're multiplying. And this one, we're just going to keep them lined up. Okay, so if you weren't here yesterday, you're about to see what happens. So the reason why we multiplied is so that we can add these together. What's going to happen when you have 3x plus negative 3x? Yeah, it cancels out. Do you guys remember what we did yesterday? How we wrote that? You can just put the slash through it. Okay, and then Avery, if I add straight down 6y to, this is 1y, how many y's do I have? 7. Yep, so this is going to be 7y. Okay, and then Stacy, will you calculate this side for me? So you can put in 33 minus 5, or you can put in 33, yep, good, plus negative 5. Awesome. Okay, and then Bree, what's our last step? If you have 7y equals 28? Yep, divide by 7. And then do you guys know what y is? 4. Great. Okay, so now that we found y, we have to find x. So after you multiply to get the opposites, you're going to add the equations together. So we did that. We add the equations, and then you're going to substitute to find the other variable. And if you guys just want to write substitute, that's fine. So I said the other variable because sometimes you'll find x, sometimes you'll find y. And do you guys remember from yesterday, if you were here, that it doesn't matter what equation you plug it back into, you can choose. So is there one of these equations that you like better than the other one? That looks like simpler? Yeah, I think the first one too. Okay, so if you have x plus 2y equals 11. Okay, and then all you have to do is instead of y, we're going to plug in 4. So 2 times 4 equals 11. Okay, and then can you guys solve that for x and write your answer? Let's see. Okay, and then Gabe, what'd you get for your final answer? Oh, okay, are you here though? Are you here? Yeah. Okay, and then what's your last step? Do what to both sides? Subtract, yep. So we're going to subtract 8 from both sides. And you should get 3. So x always goes first, so we're going to write 3, 4. Okay. All right. Now, for part B, what I want you to do is I want you to look at the x's and look at the y's. And I want you to see if there's one of them that you think would be easier to cancel out. Because we can't cancel them out yet, but we are going to multiply to cancel them out. So x, I have -3 and 2. Here I have 4 and 1. Any thoughts whether it's going to be the x or the y? Yeah. Do you know why? Yeah. So the y's are going to be simpler because see how this is a 1 in front of the y? What could you multiply by 1 to be the opposite of 4? What is the opposite of 4? -4. Yep. Okay, so then all we're going to do is we're going to multiply this by -4. So I'm going to have you do that part. And I'll come around and check it for you. Okay, so I want you to multiply everything by 4. Everything by 4. And once you've done that, you can just write this on top of it and add straight down, because I think some of you can do that. You guys did a good job multiplying. -8, -4y, +32. Okay, so then if you have -11x, these should cancel. And then you divide by -11, and you should get -4. So you really have to pay attention to those signs, or else your negative is going to be off here. Okay, and then when you have 2x plus y equals -8, again, you don't have to choose this one. I chose it because I thought that it looked a little easier. So if you chose another one, don't worry about that. If you were only able to get to the x, that's fine. And then you just have to plug it back into one of them. So if it's 2x, you're going to plug in the -4. What's 2 times -4? -8. So if you have -8 plus y equals -8, when you add 8 to -8, what do you get? 0. Okay, now for a and b, we only had to multiply one equation because we were always able to find something that had a 1 in front of it. But look at c. Do we have a 1 in front of it? In front of any of the variables? Do we have a 1 in front of any of the variables? Nope. Okay, so when you're doing C, what you're going to have to do is you are going to have to multiply both of them. Okay, so you can choose your x or your y's. We have -5 and 2. What's -5 times 2? Or what's just 5 times 2? Yeah, -10. So you can make one of them -10 and one of them 10. If you wanted to do the y's, do you know what your opposites would be? What's 2 times 3? 6. Okay, so you could choose either one. Let's do the x's for this. Okay, so all you have to do is multiply the top by 2, but the bottom you're going to multiply by +5. Okay, so I want you to do those two things, and then let's see if we can get some opposites going. Okay? Okay, so for the back side, you have to decide, do you want to make the x's opposites or the y's? And really, this one, the choice is up to you. I already noticed that I have a positive and a negative here, so I would probably try to eliminate the x's. So if this is 3x, what do you want this to be? I want it to be -3x, right? So what should I multiply by -x to get -3x? 3. Yes, good. Okay, so let's just multiply everything on the bottom by 3. And again, you're always doing that distribution. Okay, so I'm going to give you a minute to do that. Some of you. All right, and if you want to double check and make sure you multiply by 3 correctly, this is what you should have. And again, the reason why we're doing that is so when you're adding straight down, you should get 3 minus 3 is 0. So if you get 0, you know that you did it right. Okay? Now, when you add here, you'll get 5y. And what's 6 plus negative 6? 0. So I know sometimes when you get 0 there, that can feel kind of weird, but you're still just going to divide by negative 5. And let's check that in our calculator. If you do 0 divided by negative 5, what do you end up with? Isn't it just supposed to be what? I'm sorry. It should be positive 5 though, right? Yeah. And then when you divide by 5, you'll get y is 0. And then you can choose which one you want to plug it into. Sometimes I try to avoid negatives, so I would probably avoid that negative and plug it into the first one. So this would be 3x plus 2. Now, when you plug something in for y, the y comes out. There's no more y. So this is just a 0. Okay, so I want you to solve that for x. Write your final answer. And then I want you to decide what you're going to multiply for b. So again, you're just trying to get some opposites there.